This is Classic FM.
Hello, it's my huge pleasure to welcome Renée Fleming to Classic FM. Thank you very much for coming and joining us.
Thank you, Jamie.
You've got an album out, new album, Guilty Pleasures.
Yes.
What's it about?
Well, you know, it was sort of an opportunity to revisit the beautiful voice model that was an early recording of mine and that people enjoyed. And it was a mixture of arias and songs. So this is also that. But I've recorded so much repertoire. I had fun sort of combing the wilds of the internet and whatever other research I could manage to find real tidbits and real beauty jewels, let's call them. And so that's the guilty piece, is that everything is just beautiful for the sake of being beautiful.
Because, you know, often you hear albums of songs and an opera put together, and to be honest, they're always the same. People release the same material because they know the songs are well known.
Yes.
This is a really interesting collection of perhaps some different pieces. I mean, Danny Boy is fairly well known, but some of the other pieces not so well known.
Right.
Was that deliberate? Or?
Well, it's a sort of the nature of me having recorded a lot of music because I've done the well-known bits. So this is, and I have always loved exploring the unknown corners of repertoire. And this is kind of fun because the whole Slavic section, for instance, has a piece from an opera that was mostly destroyed. And I'm also revisiting characters I love. Armida is also Alcina, and that particular sorceress has been set by many different composers. And the same with Rusalka, which is Undine. Same also old legend of the Little Mermaid.
You actually just answered my next question, which is, you know, what are the characters that you've loved playing? But actually, you mentioned something there which I'm fascinated about. You know, you don't just sing opera and classical songs as such. I mean, you have this interest in jazz and indie, and you've sung with Sting, of course.
Yes.
I mean, it stands to reason to me that somebody would, but I guess a lot of people look at you and go, hang on a minute, this is this huge opera star. Why are you doing that? What's the interest? You
know, what's fun about it is it's really changed because the doors have opened for cross-collaboration. And, you know, I'm doing a huge project in a couple of weeks called American Voices with 12 great singers, but all genre. And we're singing together a lot of different kinds of music, but more importantly, we're talking about what it means to be a singer today. And a lot of the popularity of singing comes from television, comes from the extraordinary success of all of these competitions that young people have become so interested in, including my own children. And in fact, all of their classmates are brilliant performers. Few of them know how to sing, but that's okay, you know, they can learn. And so it's a little bit of an opportunity to talk about those things. And my cross-genre experience has kind of helped me understand and appreciate what everyone else does as well.
I always think of America as having so many great performers and singers.
Yes.
So how have you chosen the people you brought together?
Well, from Broadway jazz, blues, we have rock, pop, and of course classical. Nashville country, the country music is the biggest, you know. And the idea was to sort of say, wow, these techniques are all different. Who are some of the best people who are representative for these various worlds? And we also have people from business, people talking about surgeries. The surgeon who worked on Adele will be there, and Steven Tyler and a lot of other famous singers, to talk about trends and the future of fixing the voice and maintaining the voice, and great voice teachers as well are
which
coming.
is about maintaining the voice as well.
Yeah.
How you get trained and how you use your voice.
I mean, what a tragedy to have such superstar success and then have difficulty. So we all struggle with maintenance. I mean, our tradition, we're unamplified, which is something I always love to point out because people don't think about it.
Yeah.
That's huge. And it's also based on hundreds of years of technical advances that in how to sing. We're sort of the Olympians, I would say.
Well, I heard somebody say you are an Olympian of singing.
Yes.
Did you take pleasure in that?
Well, no, I think it's true. I mean, it's the most athletic. I mean, I've seen some rock concerts that's athletic too, and it's a slightly different way because the amplification helps. But the length and the stamina required are similar to opera.
You know, I read that Mick Jagger didn't speak for 3 days before the last concert, you know, just to get his voice in tip-top condition. So all of that people maybe don't realise.
Sure. Right.
You go through it all the time.
Yes,
Air
exactly.
travel, I suppose, drives you.
No, terrible, yes.
So, but American Voices aside, you do present these great cinema productions from the Met, which go out, you know, we're doing it from the Royal Opera House now. How do you feel about audiences going to a cinema and seeing opera? Because you mentioned the amplification, and of course they're not going to get that direct connection with you or anyone else on stage.
That's the one thing you don't get. You don't really get the thrill of the human voice in the hall. What happens to the human voice when it projects and when it's really well trained, it's thrilling. So, however, in the movie theaters, you get close-ups and you get a sort of a more theatrical sense, a more intimate sense of the art form, and it's very well presented. And for people who can't otherwise go, I mean, I just recently read that the Royal Opera is coming to the U.S. in cinemas, which I think is fantastic. Yeah. The more, the better.
And so you've got with the stuff from the Met, you've got American Voices, you've got the new album out. When do you get to do opera and sing and do what you know, the day job, if you like? I mean, how do you fit it all in?
Yes, I just sang Der Rosenkavalier in Vienna, and we actually were the first performance that was streamed live around the world from the Vienna State Opera, and that program they plan on growing that to a huge degree in the next season or so. So I do quite a bit of opera. I'm singing Rusalka at the Met in January. And I'm working in Chicago as a creative consultant, which has been a thrill for me. So I'm involved in new works and outreach. We did fantastic comedy skits, Second City, and Sir Patrick Stewart and I were the hosts.
That must be fun.
Very successful show, making fun of opera in a sort of loving way.
Yeah, I read that your guilty pleasure, let's go back to the album from Guilty Pleasures, your guilty pleasure, I think I read right, was wandering the streets of Paris with a bit of Joni Mitchell on the iPod and so on, just kind of getting away from it all.
I love that.
Is that the guilty pleasure? Is that or what is the thing that
No, my real, when it's not even guilty, I mean, my guilty pleasures, I say, are coffee and the newspaper, so I'm not terribly adventurous, I would say. But my real passion outside of my work is culture. I mean, in Vienna, I went to 8 or 9 museum exhibits and saw 4 operas and a concert. Wow. But I'm really a theater buff. That's my real passion. You know, if I could stay in London for a week, I would go every night.
So if you had coffee, newspapers, and then off to the theatre.
Yes, yeah, I am a culture nut. I admit it.
It's wonderful to have you join us, and good luck with the new album.
Thank
I'm sure.
you.
Well, we love it. It's
Thank
terrific.
You, Jamie.
Renée Fleming.
This is Classic FM.